Video games are for nerds. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about them. That's why you're listening to The Week in Gaming, the only gaming podcast that breaks down the last 7 days and tears games apart from the inside. Ugh. So forget your worries, open your ears, and join Simon Miller and a co-host for the entertainment chatter you need. Also, screw Dark Souls.
Hello and welcome to The Week in Gaming. That's right, we're back. It's a Monday and The Week in Gaming is going live. I said it was going to happen. It's going to happen. Maybe a bit later than I first anticipated, but we had a crazy day. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who came, well, not only the new people that came aboard the Patreon this week, but also everyone that supports me constantly at patreon.com/SimonMiller316. You make my life, you make my world. And if anybody listening could just go throw a dollar my way, it just makes life a little bit better. I'm not going to lie. My man Sam is back again with me this week. Sam, how you doing?
Yeah, not doing too bad. Thanks. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. As we chatted about, a bit of a crazy day, so we're recording this a little later, but that's all right. As long as we get it up, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm ready to talk about some games. Now, we've got some news, we've got some questions. Before we do that, I want to talk about some stuff we've been playing. Let's start with what you said literally just before I pushed record, which was you finished Super Mario Odyssey.
Yes, I did. I finished it on a train because I have only exclusively been playing it in travel.
Well, there you go. You're living the Nintendo Switch dream, which is the whole point of the Nintendo Switch. Now, it's weird, Super Mario Odyssey, because obviously it had a big explosion when it first came out. I know people love it, and it got great scores. But I did find it vanished into the abyss far quicker than I was first anticipating. It is a good game, don't get me wrong. Where do you fall on it now? Because a couple of people, I'm not sure how much I necessarily agree with this, but a couple of people did come at it after the fact and it's still great, but maybe it wasn't as good as I first thought.
Yeah, I mean it's really great from a viewpoint as in like they've produced. I think it was Brett Phipps or so that I heard say this, but it's like each of these mechanics could be their own game. Yeah. But they're just you're throwing hats on everything, and the game changes all the time, and it's really great. But I just don't think it has that I don't want to use charm because it's so wanky, but like that charm that Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy had. I think obviously you just can't have it the same like Worlds format because that's been done to death. And they sort of changed the structure up a little bit. But I just don't think it was as classic Mario as 64 and, like I say, Galaxy. I think they are both better games. But yeah, like when we're talking like a Mario game that's bad, it's like 9 out of 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's still remarkable. It is still really fun, but it's not grabbed me like it's not dethrone 64 for me. So
yeah, I think that's it. Because at one point people said that's what it was, don't they? At one point they were said. This is, what do you call it? It deserves to be on the same plateau or the same level as Mario 64. And I think originally when you first sit down and play it, you do get that vibe. But I also believe that after sort of 15 hours plus, again, like 100% like you said, you look at it and go easily a 9 out of 10. Solid, amazing video game that only Nintendo could create. But at the same time, maybe there was a bit of overhype just because it was what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, and it's weird, like stuff like New Donk City just it doesn't scream Mario for me, if you know what I mean. Like the Mushroom Kingdom and stuff, they had to depart from that because it's not. They've done it, and they did set stuff like New Donk City and things like that. But at the same time, it felt a little bit odd to be going there.
Well, I think they mostly did that for the sake of doing it, right? To make it feel a bit different and make you and maybe try and sell it to a non-Mario audience. I don't know. I don't mind them doing that as long as they kind of go back. I'm not going to lie. I'm a stickler for tradition when it comes to Nintendo games. I prefer. Yeah. I liked Breath of the Wild. I preferred. What the hell came before Breath of the Wild? Was it Skyward Sword?
Yes.
This one. Okay, well, not necessarily Skyward Sword, but that was a bad version of that game. My point being, I prefer, when the traditional Zelda template is on fire, I prefer that as opposed to Breath of the Wild. I just do. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy Breath of the Wild. I absolutely did, but I prefer that traditional template. And I think it's the same kind of thing with Mario here. Like you said, it's still a great Mario game, and it still ticks all. It's not like it was a huge departure or anything like that. But I think there was enough of a departure that I'm still happy for Nintendo to stick to the traditional ways, and I'll probably enjoy it. Maybe it's because of my age. I'm a bit of an old man, and sometimes it's just nice to have what you'd expect come back. I want to point out, I'm not saying that Super Mario Odyssey is a bad video game by any stretch of the imagination. It's not. It's probably one of the best video games of last year. My point being is I totally see where you're coming from. It lacks the. It's got the wow factor, but it doesn't have the wow factor.
Yeah, I think it's like something like Sunshine. It's really good, but it just doesn't sort of hit the pinnacle Mario that you'd want. I don't think it would be classics or favourites for many people if you were to ask Mario fans, to be honest.
Yeah. What did you think of Sunshine? Just because you brought it up, I think we had this conversation before, but we'll do it again.
It was alright.
Yeah, I liked it. I think
Basically it.
Yeah, I think Sunshine gets a bad rap. I actually thought it was quite fun. I actually thought it was a really nice game on the GameCube at a time when I didn't really have much to play on my GameCube. Yeah, I liked it. I'd say Odyssey's probably a better game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it now. I mean, what is Odyssey's version of the Flood? I guess it is the hat, right? I mean, that's essentially the same thing. That's the gimmick.
Yeah. But I think they sort of do enough out of that gimmick rather than it just being a water pump. So
Yeah, that was the problem with Sunshine. Was the best bits of Sunshine was when they took the pump away, and you had, remember those levels that were just basically Mario 64 levels. They had special something was chasing you or something. I can't remember. That was the best part of Sunshine. That was a problem because it was like, oh right, the gimmick is actually holding this game back. But I did like it, and I think you're right about Super Mario Sunshine. And you met Odyssey. So you said 9 out of 10. Is that probably what you give it? You think in a loser video game review world?
Yeah. I think 8 would be a bit obstinate, you know what I mean? But I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. It's very 9 out of 10, and it's like technically, obviously, as Nintendo, it's technically flawless, and everything works as it should. And yeah, I mean, it ticks all the boxes, but just doesn't have, I don't think, the spark or the magic that other Mario titles have probably had.
I think you're right. I think I agree with you. I think they're all magical to a certain degree, which is good. They should be. It's nice. But yeah, that one I think. I'm not going to say it loses the magic. It just... well, basically everything you've just said. I don't think I need to go into any more detail there. Is there anything else you've been playing?
What is it? I tried playing Breath of the Wild. I got like an hour in ages ago, but they tried to pick it up, and I was like, what am I doing? How do I control anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to remember, isn't it? Because it just doesn't hold your hand at all.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm going to restart this at some point, but not right now on this train.
I think that's a good idea. I think that's a really good idea. I think that's probably the best way to do it. I think it's something... I mean, I'm definitely done with it. I did about 15 hours, and I was just like, I don't need to play anymore. Which for me, as a massive Zelda fan, probably sounds a bit sacrilegious to some people. I don't mean it in a bad way. It's too open, which probably sounds silly as well, but it just was. It just was. So, yeah. I do want to talk about a few. I mean, let's do God of War last, just because we'll tie that into everything else. But everyone's saying I have played a little bit of it, but I also played Yakuza. Are you a Yakuza fan? I think we had this chat before as well, but we'll do it again. Have you played any Yakuza games?
No, I haven't. I've always wanted to, but it's one of those games like, oh, the 6th one is there. It's just like, right, I don't think I want to jump in right now, you know.
Well, that's the thing. So I played it because I was doing it for review elsewhere. And I've never played them either. And the one thing I did want to shout out about it is that Sega's done a really good job, given that I think it's actually the 7th game. I think there's a spin-off in there somewhere. But I think Sega's done a really good job. Like, I know the basic story because I hear it from other people, but I don't know much. If you sort of have a little bit of patience and you've got a little bit of time to research some of it, which I did, it only took me like a half hour or so just to get an idea. I actually think there's a really good job of inviting you in and making it quite... just quite enjoyable. I was actually quite impressed with it. I can already see, because I saw a few super fans saying this feels too much like the other ones, and I could understand that it gets very repetitive. I thought after a while it's very wash, rinse, repeat. But I was all right with it because I'm not used to it, so I can understand that. But I was just surprised by it, and I get the whole, people say this is like the Shenmue offshoot they wanted all those years ago. You can totally see that. Like, it's almost the same game. But no, I thought it was all right, and I actually would say if you did want to jump in there, I actually think you may be okay with it.
Yeah, I think it's always one of those ones. It's tough because you want to invite new people in, but you also want to entertain the fans, and then you also want to give the fans what they want, but mix it up a little bit. And it seems to be received quite well. So yeah, I might jump into it. The backlog is huge, but I might jump into it.
Yeah, I played Extinction as well this week or last week.
What did you think?
Well, I understand the hate. It's not technically the greatest thing I've ever played. The camera has ADHD. That's probably offensive, but I've said it now. There's no going back. But you know what? I didn't actually think it was as bad as everybody said it was. It's a bad video game, so that sounds weird. But because its inspiration is Shadow of the Colossus and Attack on Titan and stuff like that, and I like both those games. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus is probably one of my favourite games of all time. Attack on Titan, I actually think is a really good game. I reviewed that. I think the combat mechanic's good. This feels like a budget version of those.
the Poundland Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, but you know what? The Poundland Shadow of the Colossus is all right.
It's still Shadow of the Colossus.
It's all right. And don't get me wrong, it's nowhere near as smooth, as polished. Climbing up these damn things is hell. Sometimes it's horrible. But I don't know. I got a kick out of it. I did get a kick out of it. So I don't want to shit over it too much. So I thought I'd just mention it in passing. Right, God of War. Comes out for the rest of the world in 3 days' time. If you're listening to this on the day it comes out, on Thursday. Or was it Friday? Friday, sorry, it comes out. Worldwide, I believe. I've played the first hour. Oh, a bit more than that, actually. I mean, it is... I need to play, obviously, all of it before I start... Let's talk about the scores first. The scores are universally... Not only is this one of the best games on the PS4, but it's one of the best games of the generation. Now, as popular as the original God of War trilogy was, I know the first one made a big impact just because nobody saw it coming. It was like a sleeper hit. I'm not sure I expected comments like that.
No, I've always thought of God of War in my mind as a series that was like loved because it was like cool, you know. No, I don't think anyone would ever call it 10 out of 10, but they'd love it because it was just cool and really fun and stuff. But now it's gone into sort of critically acclaimed, and I think... Not surprising, I guess. PS4 know how to make good games, but yeah, it's a bit surprising to see 10s across the board like this.
How's it affected your opinion on it? Because I know you were like you weren't 100% ready to just rock and roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of like, I might try it, but now I'm just like, I still might try it, but probably more likely to because it's just it. I've heard from people that it's a quite good, and it's not a reboot as such. It would help to have played the others, but you don't need to have played the others. So that's also a good thing.
I think it's become like The Last of Us, right? In the sense that even if you don't like the idea, the critical response has become to such a degree you need to have your own opinion on it.
Yeah, exactly. And The Last of Us, I had no interest in playing it until everyone was like, "You have to play this." And I was like, "Fine, okay, fine."
But I'm holding my ultimate praise just because I'm a huge God of War fan, and as we talked about, I don't necessarily like the direction they've gone in. Even though you may be able to tell a wonderful story with Kratos and a child, and maybe the relationship's great, and maybe I will get to the end of the game and go, "Oh, that was wonderful." It doesn't mean I'm not going to take a step back and go, "Well, actually, I preferred what they did before." Do you know what I mean? Like this could have been. It didn't have to be Kratos potentially. Maybe I get why they did God of War because they want to reboot that franchise. But it's not necessarily the direction I want to see that character go. So even if they've done well with the story, it still doesn't mean I'm not going to get to the end of it and go, well, but I'm going to wait and see. Like I say, in terms of a AAA gaming experience, it looks ridiculous.
Yeah,
like it really does. The presentation is, I mean, you can't fault it, to be honest. It's, I haven't seen it on PS4 Pro, but I imagine that it's ridiculous. I mean,
the fact that it's all one cut as well is just...
Yeah, it's nuts. That's because I loaded up Metacritic and I started playing. So basically, the Metacritic score is 95, which I think kind of goes to show. And just to, I'm just going through it here. The 10s come from Giant Bomb, DualShock is on there, Telegraph, Guardian, US Gamer, Polygon, Game Revolution, Game Radar. These are all 10 out of 10 scores. Push Square, Eurogamer, Italy, IGN gave it a 10. IGN gave the first God of War a 10 as well. Destructoid. So it's not like this is a flash in the pan. I mean, the lowest score at the moment for it is 80. So, do you know what I mean? The lowest score it got is 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
So it genuinely could start to move its way into that best game ever territory. And I don't think any other God of War game has been there. Look, people like the God of War games. Me, certainly. That trilogy to me is wonderful. But I don't think anyone ever called them the best games ever.
No, like I was saying, it just doesn't really seem to be like one of those. Would you put Last of Us? Would you put it alongside The Last of Us, for example? Everyone seems to hold as one of the best games ever. I don't think people would, but people might be doing this with God of War 4 or God of War, whatever it's called now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So it's basically it's got me intrigued. I want to see what's going to happen. So we will see. We will see with that. Is there anything else you want to touch on in terms of stuff we've been playing before we move on to some new stuff?
I don't think so, no.
It's still quiet, though. Let's be fair. God of War comes out and then everything goes nuts. But until God of War, Far Cry came out, but, people I think we pick up a bit from God of War. Now, you actually had to tell me about this. I don't know how I missed this rumor, but a few days ago, or a week or so ago, it came out that, not even that, it was like a few hours ago, that a new Bioshock game is reportedly in the works. There's a report from Kotaku. They say it's at development studio Hangar 13. well, no, I should say that Hangar 13 is the people that make Mafia 3. Apparently, there's a studio next door to said Hangar 13 working on the next Bioshock game that is codenamed Parkside. Now, I'm going to say this. The only Bioshock game we've had that wasn't developed by Ken Levine is 2, right?
I believe so, yes.
Right, and he's not working on this as far as we know, do we? I mean, there is no... I was pretty sure
we don't know much. But...
No, I was pretty sure that he said he was done with Bioshock. Obviously, it's all rumour and it's all hearsay now, so we don't know. However, I will say that I thought Bioshock Infinite, after a rousing response when it first came out, seemed to all of a sudden develop a bad rap as time went on, and I never understood why. I think Bioshock Infinite is wonderful.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought Bioshock Infinite thought it was a lot cleverer than it was, and I think that's right. And that's not necessarily making it a bad game, but I think it was it thought it was so smart with all the stuff that it did, and yeah, I guess that sort of alienates people a little bit. I didn't really pay attention to it when it was released. Was it like acclaimed when it was released?
I got a lot of 10s. I remember it got a lot of 10s because that's what got me into it. Well, I like Bioshock anyway because I like Bioshock 2 too, and a lot of people had a problem with Bioshock 2, and now all of a sudden it's become the game that everybody likes more. Like it doesn't make any sense. But I like them both. So when they announced the Infinite, and I know there was a bit of backlash because it changed so substantially from the trailers that we saw. But in terms of my own experience with it, I absolutely agree that you could smell the intellect, or at least the intellect they wanted you to smell. But I still enjoyed the direction it took me on. I really, really did. I thought that Bioshock Infinite was... By the time I finished, I remember thinking I really enjoyed that experience. You're right. It wasn't as... Like you said, it wasn't as clever as I thought it was. I could totally agree with that. But I don't need to worry about that too much because I still enjoyed what it was. And I think the question is, we'll call it Bioshock 4 for now. I don't know what... Surely you have to completely come up with a new idea. It can't tie into anything that we've done before. If anything, surely they've got a God of War and just call it Bioshock. I don't see what else... Because I think you need to separate it so much... Because obviously there's now this weird loop they've introduced to that trilogy, should you take Infinite as canon. So surely with this we have to start again. If we do that, calling it Bioshock 4 is just going to be confusing.
Yeah, that's my main sort of question, because you've gone to the sea and you've gone to the sky, and I think that was the logical, step for Infinite to take. Don't know where it was going to be set. Don't know what they're going to talk about, because they could have done a prequel, seeing Bioshock descend into madness, but they did that with the Infinite DLC.
Yeah.
So it's really like, because I don't think they'd do more of Rapture, because Bioshock 2 felt like just more of Bioshock to me. It didn't feel like its own product. It felt like just some more of Bioshock 1. And I just struggled to think of what they could do that would be worthy of a Bioshock title, because you'd need to make it feel like tie into the other Bioshock games, like you say, rather than, because if you're not, then you might as well just be another title, not a Bioshock title.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's going to be the tough sell. I think, but I do want one. I'm definitely not done with Bioshock. Like, don't get me wrong, there's faults. That ending, the first 2 hours of Bioshock 1 is awful. Actually, Bioshock 2
the first 2 hours?
The last 2 hours. Oh, no, the first 2 hours, some of the best moments in video game history.
I was going to say, like...
what are you on? No, just when it feels like the need to introduce boss fights and, it goes too video. For my taste, it goes too video gamey. I like a video game that doesn't feel like the need to tick all the tropes. Bioshock 2 I actually think is solid from start to finish. Yeah, Bioshock Infinite had problems, but when I was done with it, I was just really impressed. That was my overall feeling. I was really impressed. I enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed the nutsness of it. And that's what I want. I don't want... Because with all three of them, while they do fall into the traditional at times, mostly the idea is, let's not be a traditional video game. And that's what I want from Bioshock. I want it to be smart. I want it to be clever. How much that is on Ken Levine, I don't know. Because I've never played a Bioshock game. I played 2, but that was kind of inspired by 1. So I would say technically Ken Levine was, he was responsible for that in some sense, even if it's by a third party. So I'm intrigued to see what they do. The rumour is that it could be out before March 2019. I will definitely take a Bioshock game in the next 10 months, 11 months. Absolutely. I think that's actually something I'd be excited about.
Yeah, I'd be excited about it, but just it's obviously dubious. It's got a lot of weights, just like God of War. I think a lot of people were dubious, like you. But how are they going to do this? How are they going to take this in a new direction? And will they, tarnish Kratos or whatever? And I think that's the same here. Like, how are they going to make this a Bioshock worthy of the Bioshock franchise? Yeah. And that's what I'd be worried about, because Bioshock's my favourite game of all time. And to hear another one, it's like, okay, just be careful with it.
Yeah, no, I completely get it. And it's weird that, because I think that goes to show, because with Bioshock, I would just be happy for them to just shit them out if they wanted to, just because while I like it, it's not. I just like them. Whereas you hit the nail on the head. Whereas God of War, I actually have some weird affinity with Kratos, probably because he's a bald dude, and he's angry. It's everything I want to be in life. Yeah, I don't want him to fuck it up because I have. Yeah, because he's whatever it is, he says something to me. So I completely appreciate with that with Bioshock as well. So what was your opinion of Bioshock 2 at the time, if you can remember, as a huge Bioshock
when I got
fan?
it, I was like, this is good. It's no one. You know, when you have a favourite game of all time and you get the sequel, it's like, okay, you know what? It's not getting better than that. Yeah. But this is very good. This is a really good game. Yeah. And even the multiplayer wasn't too bad.
It was all right, wasn't it? I think the best thing about the multiplayer was the presentation of it. I thought you'd have your flat and everything like that. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, no, Bioshock 2 was good, and Infinite was good. I really enjoyed it, but then I started sort of discussing it with friends, and I was like, oh, yeah, actually, it is a bit wanky in places.
Oh, man, hugely.
But no, I did really enjoy Infinite, and the art style and the design of Infinite and Bioshock, it's just amazing. Like, they totally gone from dark to light and things like that without getting too, artsy about it. But yeah, I think both of their art directions were so stunning and so iconic that you'd have to really knock that out of the park with another Bioshock as well.
Absolutely.
And yeah.
Well, it'd be interesting. I like it when big games, the rumours start. It makes the video game industry a bit more exciting.
Yeah, it gets the hype train going.
Exactly, and I like that. I like the hype train. Even if it doesn't end the way I want, like I said, I could play God of War and go, yeah. But I'd rather it this than the other way around. Absolutely.
Yeah, you'd rather be excited about something than always cynical, I guess.
Absolutely. That's how I live. That's how I live. Also, we're going to talk about the Battle Royale games, because a lot has been going on. For starters, Cliff Blazinski's studio, what are they called? They're called Boss Key Games,
Key,
right? Or studios,
Boss Key
whatever. Productions, yeah. They've basically abandoned.
Lawbreakers.
Thank you very much. I had it in my head and it just went, which I actually liked. I thought Lawbreakers was all right. Just came at a terrible time and couldn't find an audience.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and I was just shocked with what happened.
Oh, it just died, didn't it? I mean, it literally just died. I think at one point 8 people were playing or something. It's just,
yeah.
But yeah, they've released a new Battle Royale game called Radical Heights. You've actually played it a little bit. I've downloaded it. I haven't got around to it yet. Now, we have to caveat and say it's in early access. So it's not, you can't rip into it too much. With that said, you said at the moment, while it's okay, it's a bit buggy.
It does feel like unfinished, and I think it has received a lot of shtick online because a lot of people have said, like, this isn't the point of early access. You don't just release unfinished, unpolished stuff just to have it out. And a lot of people have sort of slagged the game off because it's like, and this is how not to use early access. But I guess, I don't have any problem with it, being free to play early access and, buggy. It's not great. You don't want to go in and have a buggy game, but I'm a bit forgiving with that. In terms of the actual content, it feels very much like PUBG in the sense it's people. It's not cartoonified people, but the bright colours and everything and the whole aesthetic is a bit more Fortnite-y.
Yeah.
You can't help but compare those two. You don't want to compare games because it's its own thing, but obviously it's capitalising on the success of those two and sort of merging some of the key bits. And it's got this whole 80s aesthetic and everything, and it's got I don't know whether the microtransactions are live yet, but they've got clothes shops and things like that. And for the time being, it's good. Like, you pick up drops, you shoot dudes. It's the same principle, It's the exact same principle everyone knows and loves. And I think it's already got more than the peak of Lawbreakers ever did. So, yeah, it seems to be doing all right.
It's tough to criticise, isn't it? I think in terms from a business perspective, if you know that a genre is picking up and your genre is dying and you want to jump on it, I agree with you to a certain point. You don't want to go too far, but I understand why they've done it. And it actually sounds, if they can iron all that stuff, it sounds like a decent, not alternative. I'll say alternative, but obviously following a lot of the same rules that obviously Battle Royale games do. And also, I do like Cliff Blazinski games. I do think he makes very satisfying games when I've got a gun in my hand.
Yeah.
I do think that's his forte. That's why I like Lawbreakers as well. So I haven't played much of any Battle Royale game. Maybe I'll go to that one. Maybe I'll be that guy. Maybe I'll go play it. The other point of all this is, while everyone threatens to come out with more games, and some people are saying we're going to do a 400-player Battle Royale game, which sounds, I'm never playing that one. That sounds awful. Epic is now saying potentially they could increase Fortnite to over 100 players. Now, this surprises me because surely we're in the land of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Surely. Why do we want to start mucking around with this template?
Yeah, you have to wonder because I don't know how much you follow Fortnite, but the servers are down all the time.
Of course they are. It's 2018 in
for
video
them to
games.
be like, yeah, let's increase the player count. It's just like, why would you do? You got server issues all the time. Just please, just fix that.
Exactly.
And then move on.
But I mean, look, you played it more than me. I played a little bit. I need to play more. Would you want more than 100 players, really? It's like, what was that PS3 game that everyone went on about that had 64 players? And everyone's like, it's going to be amazing. No, it wasn't. It was too many players. I mean...
It really depends, because if they put more than 100 players on that map, oh, God. But I wouldn't want a new map just to cater for more players, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it would be cool. Like, it would be cool to see, but I don't know much about the tech of games and everything, but that's got to be a big ask to do more than 100 players in the Battle Royale
I think so. And it's MAG. MAG was that PS3 game, and they were like, players. It's like, no, that's not how it went. It had 256 players. Fuck off. And look how long that lasted. I just think, look, if the Battle Royale franchise wasn't working, absolutely, muck around with it. But it's the biggest thing in games right now.
Yeah. To be honest, what does it even affect apart from the length of time a match takes?
I know.
Like, I'm not like, yes, this is 200 players. Like, it's just like, oh, yes, this is double the length of time it will take me to finish this match now.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really add anything, to be honest.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like, it's absolutely nuts. I don't... it doesn't make me want to play it anymore either. It's not like, oh, now I've got to play Battle Royale. It makes me not want to play it, if I'm completely honest. 200 players is a ludicrous amount. Has PUBG said anything? Are they threatening to this? They got very quiet, PUBG, or they at least having in the jet. I used to get inundated with their stuff, but I don't hear anything from them anymore.
Well, I think it's PUBG's just keeping their head down, just like working hard, because I think it's as much as people like Battle Royales claim the throne, like, they're still very popular games in their own right, regardless of Twitch views.
Oh yeah, they're still making ridiculous money. There's more for one. I know there was that big stink where Fortnite came out and Blue, whatever they're called, were all like, meh. It's like, shut up, Blue Hole. Just let there be more than one. You didn't come up with this idea. You stole it from a book. So don't all of a sudden say that this is your property. No, it's not. That's not how this works. And
Fortnite's not copy-paste. It's got its own visual style. It's got its own aesthetic. It's got its own look. It's got its own approach. And everyone is, because people on the internet complain. That's what happens. People just complain that it's all Battle Royale games these days. But there's not actually that many. It's not like everyone's going to Battle Royale. People are doing Battle Royale modes, but nobody's abandoning ship, and there's not an industry shift to Battle Royale. No. It's just, of course, people are going to make stuff that's popular, and if that's popular, then go for it. But
also, we always go through these trends. I remember the zombie trend. I remember the FPS World War II trend. I remember the RPG trend. It just happens, and it will come and go.
I bet there were people that said, "Oh, why is Red Dead Redemption getting zombies?" And then that was brilliant.
It really was brilliant. More people should do it. Why don't more people do weird, standoffish DLC that doesn't actually tie in? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. That was one of the best DLCs ever. Probably the best. That and the Shivering Isle for Oblivion, I think, are my two favourite DLCs ever. Because they felt completely different to the main game while not forgetting the core concepts.
Yeah.
Which is all I wanted. And one more news story before we answer. And I'm gonna we got loads of questions. There's no way we can answer them all today, but I do appreciate it. So thank you, everyone who's just inundated me with questions. It was very flattering. I don't know how you feel about this. I just don't care, because I don't care about Shenmue. I get that it's important. Sega announced that Shenmue 1 and 2... Actually, two announcements from Sega. Shenmue 1 and 2 are being remastered for the PS4. And they're releasing a Sega Mega Drive Mini, I guess, to try and tap into what Nintendo's been doing. Are you much of a Shenmue fan, Sam? I mean, it's okay. I never really got the hype.
I've always wanted to get into it, so maybe this is the right time. It seems like quite dated from what I've heard, in terms of like everything. So it might be worth getting into, just because I have an interest in it, and it might be worth just sort of dipping into. But I can't really be bothered to get, because I can't remember what was the first one on Dreamcast, was it?
Yeah, it must have been, right?
Or
was it? Or was it the No, it was a Dream. Why am I questioning? I'm looking it up. Why I can't? Yeah, it was the Dreamcast. Yeah, it was.
But yeah, and I didn't want to, because I don't have one. I was like, I can't bother to buy one and then buy a copy of Shenmue and then turn it on and be like, I don't like this.
What a waste of money. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's smart on behalf of Sega, considering I imagine they'll come out before Shenmue. Well, they will come out before Shenmue 3 does, because it not only should it build necessary hype, but if you actually have been intrigued by Shenmue 3 and you can jump in and play those two and get up to speed.
Yeah.
Not the worst idea in the world. Actually, very smart, to be honest, on behalf of Sega.
Yeah. Shenmue is a very bizarre franchise, because everyone knows about Shenmue 3 and everyone's talking about it, but I don't actually know any fans of Shenmue.
I know one. Stephen Burns.
Yeah.
Stephen Burns is a massive fan of Shenmue. That's it. It's the one guy.
Yeah, it just seems like one of those franchises everyone loves, but I don't really know anyone who actually loves it.
No, I don't. And also, they can't have done that. It can't have had that big a fan base because the reason it died is they put so much money into Shenmue 2 and no one bought it. So it can't. It's one of those weird games where history and the power of the internet has turned it into something it probably never was.
Yeah.
It's a strange thing. But hey, look, people like it. Good for you. I hope Shenmue 3 is what you want. I don't think it's going to be. But that's my troll side. We won't talk about that.
Yeah.
Right. So I did ask for some video game questions on my Twitter at Simon316. We won't. There's no way we can answer. We got 100 questions in about 10 minutes. Now we're not going to answer 100 questions. I'll try and do another podcast this week to answer the rest of them, or we'll just answer them next week. I'll make sure I collate them all. Some of them are nuts, but we're just going to go. I'm just going to go through them one by one until we hit about 45 minutes, and then I'm just going to stop asking questions. The first one is weird. Ian Winter says, on the itchy and scratchy CD-ROM, is there a way to get out of the dungeon without using the wizard key? It's actually a good question. That's what the guy... I get it. We'll move on. Mike Regan, are we getting Kingdom Hearts 3 this year? I thought we were. I thought that was confirmed, was it not?
I just lose track with Kingdom Hearts 3. Just so much speculation and so little fact. I just don't know what to think anymore.
I'm looking it up now, as I always do. But I mean, as we're here, I never really got into Kingdom Hearts. I thought I'd love it. It was when I finally got into Final Fantasy games. I thought, okay, I like Disney. I think Disney's all right. Couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it seems one of those where it's not as simple as the Disney characters might indicate. And yeah, it was one of those ones I always wanted to try, but just never got around to because it seemed a bit like one of those big, long time commitments. And I was just like, yeah, I'll get around to it one day. And here I am. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably should come out this year, given that there's always a balance with these things. And Ubisoft sometimes go over it, where you will need to get something out at a certain time. Otherwise, you start getting diminishing returns.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say it should be this year. I'll say yes. I'll go yes. Take a guess, Sam. Is it going to come out this year?
Yes.
Michael Richard, should Universe mode on WWE 2K games incorporate some kind of rating systems a la GM mode, or better still, create a pay-per-view on SmackDown 2? Well, I mean, in my opinion, on all WWE games, they need a proper reboot, to be honest. They need to be kind of gutted and started again. So, yes, they should do that. And they really should get to a point where gameplay represents what WWE is. The weirdest thing I've always found about the WWE games is they try and simulate what wrestling would be if wrestling were a real sport. But wrestling is not a real sport. So there should at least be some multiplayer / co-op game where, say, you and I are having a match, Sam, one-on-one. We can work together just to put on a good match, as opposed to trying to win the match. And no, I guess the Fire Pro games kind of do that. But I'm talking about someone having that on the back of the box, the bullet point, you know. We've never had that, really, I don't think. Or at least not in Western society. I don't get it. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is on wrestling, Sam. I don't think we've ever had that conversation.
No, I like wrestling. It's one of those things that I stopped watching about 2006, where Edge put Mick Foley through a flaming table. But,
what a great sentence!
Yeah, and it's one of those things I don't dislike it now. It's just sort of one of those things I sort of fell out of touch with. But I was a big fan when I was a kid. Like Mask Kane was my favourite and everything.
Damn right.
And I get a WWE game every 4 years-ish just to sort of play with friends. But I don't like play any of the modes or anything. It's
still a good multiplayer game. It really is. Yeah. Like you pin someone, they kick out 2 3/4. Everyone in the room goes nuts.
It's never not fun to put anyone through a table in any video.
Exactly. But no, Michael, I think they should gut the whole thing. But I wouldn't count on it. Francisco Uribe, if that's your real name, Francisco, you win. Do you think Resident Evil 3 is underrated? Sam, I'm going to ping that one to you because I can't answer it. I may have never played Resident Evil 3.
I've not played it either.
Oh, there we go. So we'll say, yeah, it's underrated. Yeah, it is. Which one is 3? I've got to look that up now.
With Nemesis, wasn't it?
Oh, of course it was. No, I definitely never played that. I went back in with 4, and we all know that I think 5's a better game. We don't need to talk about that again because
we don't need to talk about that.
I got destroyed last time. Made me a bit sad. Jacob Boeve, if they were going to make you a guest character in a video game, what game would you want to be in? Gears of War. I want to be the new Dominic Santiago. I want to be Marcus Phoenix's running buddy, and they can make me massive, and I could wear big armor, and I could fire a chainsaw gun. Easy. Sam, go.
I think picking out my top 3 games, it would have to be Danganronpa because it's all full of specky, nerdy weirdos, and I feel like you could just sort of animate me quite well, and then just sort of throw me in there. There we go.
I think the problem with that question is, like, say you don't want to be in something like Shadow of the Colossus. That's depressing. Like you don't want to be the horse in Shadow of the Colossus. It's like everyone in Shadow of the Colossus ends up bad. Spoilers for Shadow of the Colossus. You finished Shadow of the Colossus, haven't you, Sam? Now
I've not played it.
Oh, okay. I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it just in case. But people know what I'm talking about. This is a good. Actually, yeah, we will do it. Fred Senna, what is the best Zelda game? I always say Ocarina of Time, but we'll take Ocarina of Time out because that's a boring answer. I'd rather give a more interesting answer. So I am going to be controversial, and I'm going to say that A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. I love that game. I genuinely love it. I gave it a 10 out of 10 for videogamer.com. I stand by it today. It's a masterpiece. I genuinely think that. It's just and the fact that it's portable as well, and it still captures that Zelda magic. It's basically like a remaster of A Link to the Past. But A Link Between Worlds makes it feel like its own. The music's amazing. The graphics are amazing. It's an incredible video game.
Cool. I think that's a good answer.
Yeah. Have you played them all?
I've dipped in and out. I'd never finished Majora's Mask because I really hate that time mechanic. Like, I think it's good if you want that, but I do not want to be replaying all that stuff all over again.
No, I'm with you.
I'm not doing it.
No, I'm with you. Like, I think Majora's Mask is a fantastic achievement, a shit Zelda game. Because it's like Dead Rising, right? I love Dead Rising until I have to start doing all that bullshit. I don't want to do it. Like I said earlier, I like the progression of the traditional Zelda game. That's what I like. And I get it's boring, I get it, and they probably should have done what they did. So yeah, I was saying, I played Majora's Mask, but I'm not. Go away. I don't want to have to do it. And just it's like remembering a map or a maze. Just it wears you out. No, I don't like it. Morton Dunlop, have you played Darksiders 2? I currently am, and I'm all kinds of shocked how good it is. Darksiders 2 is good. Did you play Darksiders 2?
No, Darksiders 1 I played with. That was a sort of a sleeper hit because a lot of people don't consider Darksiders. They're sort of like, oh yeah, Darksiders, but they're good games. They're really good.
They're polished as well. Like they look a bit. I don't mean this disparagingly. It's going to sound disparaging. But they look like B titles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kind of look like they're lol. But actually, when you play them, you're like, no, this is good. You know, this
is Darksiders 2 the Definitive Edition?
That is
because that was an awful title.
That's the remaster, right?
Yeah, because the one was War Mastered and one was Definitive.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the stupid. Yeah, but you can play them on your Xbox One or PS4. I guess that's what this guy is doing.
Yeah,
they are good. Yes, they are better than you probably imagine, especially if you're into the whole mythos that they're based on. You know, death and the Four Horsemen and all of that. I like them. I think they're all right. The problem with Darksiders 2 is THQ bet too heavily on it. They thought it was going to be like a Call of Duty level of game, and it wasn't.
Yeah,
and that was the end of it. Paul Smith, any future for a remake of Future Cop LAPD? Sam, what is Future Cop LAPD? I don't know what that is.
I think it's some PS1 game. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but it was off my radar.
Is it like a light gun game or something? No.
Yeah,
the hell is that?
That's about the extent of my knowledge.
Future Cop LAPD is a third-person shooter developed by EA. I've never seen this game in my life. Sorry, Paul.
Can't bet with loot boxes then.
yeah, exactly. Aram Syed, favourite Assassin's Creed game? I can't answer that. I'm not an Assassin's Creed fan. I'd say 4. I like the boat when I played it for 20 minutes. You got one, Sam?
1. A lot of people are just like, how can it not be 2? But I think 1's a better game. Actually.
Really? I hate 1. It's so boring.
Yeah. Loads of people hate it because it's basically the same 3 levels over and over again.
Yeah, it is. Why did you like it? I guess you just like those levels.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was probably influenced because when you get a new generation of console and then you're like, the graphics are so good, oh my god.
Yeah,
that was my game for that. And I just thought it was amazing. Like, the world was immersive, and I thought it was just a really, like, I just remember being sort of sucked into that whole journey. And then with Ezio, I was like, okay, this is Assassin's Creed in Italy. But I just didn't think it was as good personally, because a lot of people say, how can you think 1? But at least it's not 3, so Well,
that's what I never understood. Everyone said, oh, they fixed it with 2. I played 2. I was like, it's the same stuff. It's like, no, they haven't changed anything. And they said it with Origins. It's the same stuff.
Yeah.
I don't get it. This is a question. Mayhem. Will Jack Marston be in Red Dead Redemption 2? I think he has to be. I don't see how you can make... Or they're planning some massive DLC content for it. I don't see how you can make a prequel to Red Dead Redemption, which means Jack Marston is available, and not put him in it. That seems crazy to me.
Yeah, because otherwise you might as well just make another cowboy game, because it's not Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I think it has to be in it. Be that some kind of DLC where you play as him, some... Rockstar always like to muck around with the format. Some level where you somehow walk around as him, or he's just an NPC. You has to be in it. I said this before. I think Jack Marston's one of the best video game characters ever. If you can use him, you should use him. And also, you're just going to get a good reaction from the fan base anyway.
Yeah.
You probably get a few more sales off the back of it once that leaks. So I would say yes. I'm confident. I'm gonna
be confident too.
I'm gonna let you answer this one because I hate both. The Blue Penguin, Crash or Spyro? I hate both of them.
Spyro, obviously. Spyro's a better game.
Is it really? I never really played them, so I can't really. I was a Nintendo boy growing up, so they just passed me by.
I was a PlayStation boy. I played both trilogies.
Spyro is like, it's a more well-rounded game, right? Crash is quite simple, whereas Spyro is more of a video game.
I think they're compared as 3D platformers, but they're not really the same thing because Crash is very traditional in the sense that you're either going left to right or back to front, or you're going in one direction. So it's sort of like a 2D platformer in 3D space. Whereas Spyro had like these fully realized worlds and stuff. So I don't think they were really competing in the same space. I think they both, like, Crash is far more arcadey. Spyro is like proper 3D platformy, but I still do think Spyro is the better game overall. I actually don't like Spyro the Dragon 1 that much, but 2 and 3 are amazing.
Are you excited about the remasters? We haven't talked about that on here.
I'm so excited.
You see, so many people are, and I find it hilarious. I see people on social media and stuff who, I don't. This is going to sound really insane. I don't mean that. I mean it in a quaint, fun way. But adult friends, and they're going nuts over a tiny dragon. I had no idea they were such fans.
Yeah, it's just a nostalgia thing. Like when Crash was announced, everyone went mad, and it's easy money for them. I'm like, take my money. I'm fine with that. But like personally, I think Spyro holds up. Like I replay Spyro regularly on my PS1, and I could play it, and it's not frustrating. Like it handles really well. Whereas if you were to remaster something like Banjo-Kazooie, you'd need to get those controls out of there as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what they're going to do, because obviously since I've played them recently, I could probably notice the fine details. But people who haven't played it for 20 years will probably not notice if they dramatically change all the controls and the levels. So I'm really interested to see what they change and why.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you sound like, I know Spyro so well. But it's just like, it'll be really interesting to see what they change, and because they smoothed Crash's like jump. I don't know, because it was a lot harder to like land on things in the Crash on PS4 than it was on PS1 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, I'm super hyped for it.
I can tell, man. I'm surprised. You love it. Fury Ross. If Nintendo were to remaster one Mario game / franchise, such as the Galaxy series, which one would you want and why? I mean, it's so hard to answer with Mario games because they're so of their time. Like, I love Super Mario World. Do I want a remaster of it? Don't need one. It still plays fine. Do I want Super Mario World being made into a 3D game? Probably not, no. I think you could probably still go back and play Mario Galaxy too. I don't think it would have aged that badly. I mean, I guess you could have it in proper HD now. I don't know. Do you have an answer to that? I don't have an answer to that.
I mean, boring answer, but 64. I think it was so quintessential because it sort of took everything that was like classic Mario from the 2D games, put it into a 3D world, and it was all... it was all the classic Mario stuff. And if you just saw out the camera issues and make it all... Because you can make it look... Imagine with HDR and all those colourful worlds and everything, it'd be amazing. Well, not HDR, obviously, it's Nintendo. But,
maybe
modern
4K. Maybe 4K. I think you're right. I think Mario 64 is the only one that makes sense. You don't want to touch the 2D games. They run fine. 3D, 64 is the one, obviously moving to 3D. Everyone loves it. Yeah, you're right. I think that's the only option. I think Galaxy still plays fine, so I wouldn't want them to touch that.
And I think it's the one that has aged worse. So you need to remaster it, if you know what I mean. It's hardest to go back to.
Anything on Nintendo 64 is dog these days. It's awful.
Yeah.
This is a good question. Graham Moore, which game surprised you because you thought it would be really bad but turned out to be really good? And which game surprised you because you thought it would be really good, turned out to be really bad? We'll do it bit by bit. The game that surprised me, I thought was going to be bad but was good, was The Last of Us. I've said this 1,000 times. When I played that demo, and it was just a bunch of putting planks down, I was like, the flip is this? But it was out of context, which is why Sony should never have released that demo. It's a bad demo. That's why I stand by it. I think I was right to say what I said. I was just wrong with the context. But absolutely. Do you have one?
Red Dead Redemption. I wouldn't say it's really bad. I think that would be a bit extreme, but that's the one that comes to mind because obviously I just it didn't click with me.
Yeah.
And obviously you go in expecting just massive things. And for good and bad, I think Dark Souls 2 is obviously, for me, I really hate Dark Souls 2, and I know you can't sympathise and all that. But yeah, Dark Souls 2, really disappointed me after the first one. So
I'm trying to think, a game that I thought was good that turned out to be bad. I mean, this is unfair. I still like it and I enjoyed it. I had a smile on my face. Gears of War 4 probably could have been a bit better. But it was fine. It did what it had to do. I wouldn't say it's a bad game. But, Gears 1, I give a 10. Gears 4, I give a 8. I think that kind of just, sums it up. Not that numbers mean anything, but just as an idea. I don't know if I can answer this. Ishmael Gonzalez, what year was the best for gaming? I mean, 98, surely. Because 98, didn't we get Half-Life Ocarina of Time, and Metal Gear. Isn't that all 1998? I think it was. I think was it Half-Life 2 or I can't remember. But my gut says 1998, and I don't even like Half-Life. However, I respect, I respect what it did in the industry. Yeah, Half-Life was 98, and Metal Gear. Yeah, so I'm going to go 98 in terms of from a nostalgic point of view. Where you
I'm going to go 2007, I think, because I'm just looking at the games about 2007. Bioshock, Portal, COD 4, Halo 3, Crysis, Uncharted 1, Assassin's Creed 1, Super Mario Galaxy, Mass Effect. That was what a year.
Was that 2007?
Yeah.
I'm seeing what WWE came out in 2007.
SmackDown vs. Raw 2000.
It was,
it
yeah.
was in 2006, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. All the SmackDown vs. Raw games were interchangeable. I was hoping it was going to be something else. It's a good shout, though.
SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. I love it so much.
I can't even remember it. I can't even remember it. Ben Davies, your favourite Final Fantasy game? Mine is Final Fantasy VI. I've never played Final Fantasy VI. Favorite. Oh, it's probably Dissidia, I don't really like Final Fantasy games, but I like Dissidia. So yeah, I'm going to say Dissidia. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I haven't played them, so I'll say 15.
Yeah, done. There you go. Sorry, guys. We're not the right people with that. King of Creepy. PS4, PlayStation, or Xbox? Classic question. I'm still more of a PS4 guy these days. Just because more of my mates were playing it when they came out. But I have an Xbox One. I love it. I think it's great too. Not a big PC guy, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm PS4 just because my friends have it. If Xbox had launched and was more popular and my friends had it, I would have gone there. But I mean, I'm not going to be obstinate and be like, I don't want to play with any of my friends because I play Xbox. So yeah.
What's the best Metal Gear game? Says Jay Ward. Metal Gear Solid or Snake Eater? I'm a sucker for the first one. I really like the first one. I think it's. Again, nostalgia-wise, I like Snake Eater. I think it's some incredible ideas in Snake Eater, some incredible ideas. However, yeah, Metal Gear Solid will always be my favourite Metal Gear game. But I like Metal Gear Solid 4 too, which a lot of people hated. I love that game, so what do I know?
But I only played 2 and 4, which is the worst thing, because I've got a friend that really likes Metal Gear Solid, and he's like, why did you do that? And I'm like, I honestly couldn't tell you. It just sort of happened, and then out of those, 4 is very good.
Do you like 2 and 4, though? I like 2 and 4. I think 2 and 4
I like
okay.
2 and 4. It's a bit ridiculous, 2. And then 4 is, usual level of ridiculous. But I thought 4 was good. I thought 4 was very good.
Metal Gear Solid 4 has got the best title screen ever. That title screen when you're at the graveyard with that Spanish guitar, oh, my word. It's amazing. Alexander Wicked, which is quite an ironic name because your question is, what's your most difficult boss battle you've ever had? Mine is that. Do you ever finish Beyond Good and Evil?
No.
Right, the first one, it flipped all the controls. So up was down was up, left was... Yeah, exactly. But it was awful. So the only way to do it was to turn the controller upside down. It was awful. It took me ages. I hated it. Also, the last boss on Dark Chronicle is an absolute bitch because it goes, all those bosses you took on one by one, now you've got to kill them all and then kill a big boss at the end. Oh, it's an absolute, ruined that game. Ruined it. Still love it. It's the hardest boss, or most difficult boss, or boss that pissed you off. Either is fine, I think.
I mean, Rom the Vacuous Spider for me, which is I've seen you play on video. Oh, he's such an arsehole. He just brings down these one-hit kill missiles that you can't see on your screen. Oh God,
it's just the worst.
So bad.
My favourite of all of that was what's the? You have to forgive me. My knowledge is good. What I'm going to say? No, the second boss in Bloodborne, the cowboy guy.
Oh, the guy who turns to a werewolf in the graveyard.
I think, yeah, that's him. Yeah. What was his name?
Yeah.
All I remember before I got there was everyone going, "You're never going to do it, never going to do it." Second go, motherfuckers. Second go, down he went. I was like, yeah, Bloodborne, 4 out of 10. And no one can ever say anything because I finished it. I'll ask it because I like it. Phil Lawrence, best Mario game, Super Mario World. This is I love. I like Galaxy. I like 64, but it's just an age thing. Super Mario World is the perfect age. It's just wonderful. It's absolutely.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I mean, I played 64 as a kid, and I still think it's the best.
Yeah. I think Mario games they're all the same, but in a good way. One more question. I like it because it's stupid. Zach Gardner, who would win in a fight, Sonic or Yoshi? Yoshi can't win in a fight. Yoshi.
Yeah, I was just about to say Yoshi ain't gonna win that fight.
But he's got no aggression in him. At least Sonic can be a bit of a dick. He's like an angsty teenager. What's Sonic got? Nothing. There's no way. Other way around, sorry. Yoshi's got nothing. Sonic, easily as well. Easily. Oh,
Tails and Yoshi would be a good fight.
Oh, it'd be boring. That'd be boring. That would just be... They wouldn't do anything. They'd just stare at each other.
Those nerdy kids in the playground who just don't really know how to hit each other.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
Yeah, that's what it would be. It'd be absolutely ridiculous. Oh, dear. Right, so we've got loads more. I'll try and get to the rest at some point, or we'll hold them off for next week. If you keep an eye on my Twitter at Simon316, I think we'll always do a few questions, unless we've got a really busy week, just because I think it's fun. I enjoy answering mental questions, especially when it's about Yoshi having a fight with Sonic. But yeah, next week we'll get into God of War. Are you getting God of War now?
Not right now. I'll probably wait because
okay.
I've got plenty of stuff to be playing.
Okay, I am going to get it on Friday. We're going to do a Let's Play on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Report Rules. So come and check that out, and it's going to be as live, which means I can't stream for reasons we won't get into. If you want to know, you can go to patreon.com/Simon316. All the information is on there. But yeah, so you get like live stream type videos. But there'll be Let's Plays, and I'm going to play it. Yeah, I thought, why not? I want to play it. We make content at the same time. Sounds like a good idea. So we'll definitely talk about that. What else is coming out next? I thought there's a big game coming out next week. Oh, it's the Labo's coming out, isn't it? Of course.
Yeah.
So, are you going to get that? I'm going to try and get it.
Nah.
Okay, well, I'll get that. Okay, I'll be the God of War and Labo guy, and then we can...
I'll just do nothing.
That's right. You can question me on it. You can ask what everybody wants to ask, but Nintendo have had me...
the Frost to your Nixon.
Exactly. Nintendo have had me for 30 years, so, you know, I'm not gonna tap out when they offer me cardboard. So both ways, I'll make a load of videos taking the piss out of it too. So yeah, that was the week in gaming. If you're on iTunes, give us 5 stars, subscribe, go tell people if you want to tell people about it. We are going to drop every Monday. Well, I've said that a lot, and sometimes we vanish. But hey, we're 2 weeks into it now, so we're living the dream. We're gonna keep going. Sam never remembers his Twitter handle, but I will put it in the description. So you can go talk to Sam about all video games on there. Is there anything else you want to pimp, Sam? I always think it has to be social media. Anything else you want to throw out there?
Got Instagram.
There you go. You can find him on Instagram as well. Sam Bishop.
Clutching at straws here.
It's fine. I didn't know whether any work you wanted to pimp out or anything like that.
It's all good. I'll leave it here.
I like it. Well, Sam, thank you for joining me as always.
No worries, man.
And yeah, we'll be back next Monday. It's the Week in Gaming. Like I said, there is no Facebook group. Maybe I'll make a Facebook group. Maybe I won't. Keep an eye on my Twitter at Simon316. Patreon.com/Simon316. Boy, do I regret putting that 316 at the end of my name. YouTube.com/The Report Rules. Boy, do I regret calling it the Miller Report Rules. You kind of get a feeling from my life here. But look, keep enjoying games. You've got a massive week of games. You've got Yakuza, you've got God of War. If you want a shit version of Shadow of the Colossus, you've got Extinction. It's not too bad. I also had a quick go on MLB 2018. The show, so that is a very good baseball game if you like baseball, but we're not going to get into that now because it's boring. Thank you very much for listening. And like I say, if you're into wrestling, Simon's Pro Wrestling Podcast drops every Wednesday as well, and you can check that out too. But take care, have a good week, and we will chat to you again in 7 days.